Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to Be a Strong Woman with Coach Haslinda Ali. So, today I want to talk about women who fear to take up strength training or lifting because they have arthritis, knee pain, joint pain, frozen shoulders, and such. Okay, so it's quite common. And most women, when they talk to me, I have current clients who are actually having these problems. They have been diagnosed with arthritis, osteoporosis, and quite severe actually. And they're not even, they are in their late 40s and 50s, okay? And it's it's worsened with perimenopause and menopause. So, just to share with you that even as for me during my perimenopausal age and now with having menopause, there are times when there will be some kind of joint pains, and you like for me, I don't have arthritis, for example, and some people experience unexplained frozen shoulders suddenly, or elbow pain, knee pain at the joints. But you'll be surprised that these women, they are actually strength training, and it has helped so much in that management of their diagnosis. Okay, for example, arthritis, there's no cure for arthritis, right? It's about managing the pain, the discomfort. But do you stop? Do you actually have to stop moving? Does it really help when you rest? No. So what happened was they went to see specialists, and their specialists tell them that they must do strength training because it will help in reducing the inflammation, the pain. Although sometimes, when we exercise, it does contribute to inflammation. But the thing is this, when you exercise, especially strength training, it is zero impact, usually one directional. It is really the safest form of exercise, and that will benefit you as well in the long run. You will get soreness in your muscles, in your body, and then you forget about the joint pain, or it doesn't seem so bad at all. So the positive feedback I get from my clients after having doing strength training after each session, and of course this is because their doctors prescribe to them that you need to do strength training, they actually feel much better in general. And then let's say if they don't go for training like in a week, they will already start again the joint pain, and then they come again. So if you can see from my social media, from FitFab social media, for example, in my business page, you can see like the same person is here again and again, like regularly, and you're wondering like, wow, she's so consistent, that she really love strength training, she really enjoy. The thing is, people feel better, generally always feel better after a workout. And for strength training, because it is not high impact, there's no running, there's no jumping for people with such condition, especially. And if you are if you are a middle ager, that's not our main programming. You'll find that you feel better in general, and that's why people keep coming, right? It's not just about losing weight, because if you are hoping to lose weight every week, it's not going to happen, right? With just strength training. So when you understand that going to the gym is to build muscles, by getting more muscle mass, you're actually reducing the risk of chronic illness, insulin sensitivity, blood sugar management. So, and it's also a social activity. If you look at it, for people who come into my group sessions, they feel so good meeting their like-minded friends, gym buddies who are on the same page of wanting to get stronger and fitter, right? I mean, look at it this way. There are many friends out there who will ask you out for a date, let's say to watch a movie or to go for makan-makan. That is no lacking of such friends, right? If you were to organize a makan session, a high tea session, let's meet up for coffee, for desserts. Obviously, many people are going to turn up. But if you try asking someone like your friend, like, hey, you want to join me for a workout? Let's do some, strength training, go for a walk. It's going to be harder, right? So what I love about what I'm doing right now for women out there is that we have a fraternity, a community where you will find like-minded individuals in FitFab. If you attend my group sessions or my events, surely you will be able to connect with at least one person, and she can be your gym buddy or your motivator or someone you can be accountable to when you want to attend classes together. Because I've seen that happening, and I'm very, very happy to see my clients making friends, like-minded friends who are not in the same job industry, who are from different walks of life, but all just there to become stronger in that 1 hour, motivating one another, clapping their hands literally throughout the session. So what I'm trying to say is that don't let this kind of pain, which is quite normal, especially if you are going through perimenopausing, or you have menopause, or you do have injuries from the past. If you were an athlete, you had ever fallen before, strength training is the safest form of exercise, with proper guidance, of course, right? Because if you go to a physio, they will also do some of the same things, I'm sure. But then again, are you always going to be going there? There will be times where you will be asked to do some homework by your physiotherapist, and you need to get strength training into your lifestyle. Okay? So if you maintain that lifestyle, you can feel better and get stronger. Actually, if you look at it, our body is our amanah given by Allah, right? By our Creator. You can't replace the body. Whether the body is skinnier, bigger, smaller, yes, it will change along the way as you get older. Some people get slimmer, some people get stronger, some people get more fragile, or some people gain more weight. But your body, there's only one, right? What your body, state of your body when you reach my age, for example, is a reflection of what you've been doing or not doing when you were younger, right? So think of your body like a car. If you have a car and you love your car, it's very expensive. No matter what brand, it's expensive to buy a car in Singapore. You have to go for servicing. Your body also needs to go for servicing every now and then. Sometimes we sit too long, we had a fall, or we were traveling and we were sitting too long in the flight or something, right? Your posture is very poor during Zoom meeting back to back. You need to do something. So certain movements that are found in strength training when you exercise actually is the answer to your body pain and aches. Right? I know some people even go for MRI to find out what's wrong with this part, your shoulder cuffs, rotator cuffs and stuff like that, or something wrong with my leg. But there's nothing wrong. What you need is exercise. You need to do the right movement. So that's a cure, right? That's a cure, and managing that pain. If you are diagnosed with arthritis or osteoporosis, for example, there is no cure for it, right? So is the answer doing dance class? No, because with multi-rotational, your knee, it will not help you feel better in those areas. Yes, you may feel happier. I love dancing, don't get me wrong. I used to attend dance classes, Zumba classes. But when there are multi-rotational, and if you are jumping and you're attending dance classes 3 times a week with no strength training in your fitness regime, in your weekly fitness regime, then you are not going to get better, right? You think it's movement, yes, it's cardiovascular, but it doesn't do much for your muscles, for example, for your knee issues, right? So choosing the right movement, the right exercise that is suitable for you, for your condition, for your weaknesses, is something that you have to look into closely, right? So maybe something that is suitable for you in your 30s. When I was going for my dance classes and I love boxing, there's nothing wrong, but I got injured along the way at my joints, shoulders, rotator cuff, and also knee from dancing. Then I need to ask myself, what should I add to my exercise schedule or weekly schedule, right? The answer is strength training. Okay, so I'm glad that the clients of mine who have all these diagnoses, the specialists prescribe strength training, and they of course they look up to their doctors, the specialists. They actually come and try, and they have been with me for 3 to 5 years now, and they're feeling better. Without strength training, I'm not saying that strength training can solve these problems. It can't solve, but you will feel better generally, and you will definitely get stronger and build muscles along the way, right? So it's one of the more natural way of prescribing medicine to your body. Movement, right? Servicing your body, like I said, weekly. If you go once a month, then by the time you're waiting for that month, your body will break down, like your car will break down also one day, right? If you keep pushing it and you don't go for servicing. Okay, so I would like to encourage those women who have so many kinds of pain, body pain, don't have to live with it. Well, there's no cure. You can feel better. Strength training can make you feel better, and at the same time build your power and strength again. So don't think that, oh, I think it's game over for me. I'm already in my 50s. I'm already menopausing. No such thing. In fact, menopause with the lack of or no estrogen at all, once it leaves your body, you'll find other health issues that come. Not major health issues, but can be quite, it can have an impact on your quality of life and your functionality, right? Like raising your hands all the way up and be able to move it 360 degrees, not to be taken for granted. Because once you get frozen shoulders and you didn't even lift anything heavy, it's like, what happened to my arm, right? You will find that it's not going to improve unless you do something about it, unless you have the right movement for it. Train for range of motion slowly and surely. All right. So there's this kind of pain that you think is chronic for the elderly. You need not have to live with it, right? Okay. So I want to talk about bone density, bone mineral density as well, BMD, which you can have it checked out with your doctor or during your health screening. It measures the concentration of calcium and minerals in your bone tissue, and it determines your bone strength and fracture risk. The keyword being here, fracture. All right. So a low BMD indicates osteopenia or osteoporosis, and often this is caused by aging, menopause, or even other medical conditions. Yeah, and it makes you have a high BMD ensures stronger, less fragile bones, which means if you do have a fall by accident, you almost fell badly or what, it will reduce the injuries, or the injuries will not be so bad, inshallah, right? So if you have a slight twist of ankle, sometimes certain people will get fracture of the ankle, hairline fracture, for example. And when you go for your scan, and if your doctor says you do have osteoporosis, declining bone mineral density, it's a red flag. And do you know that strength training actually can prevent osteoporosis? If you actually started early on in your life, it does build for stronger bones and higher bone mineral density. Okay. So usually we blame aging, menopause, family history. These are also causes of loss of bone mineral density. And how do you maintain this density? Through regular weight-bearing exercise. Weight-bearing means you need to lift. And we need to lift heavier progressively That's why coaches, we know how to do progressive overload safely. Strength training, even walking and dancing can maintain bone density, but you need to have strength training also to balance that, right? So if you ask me why strength training is superior, it's essentially because it helps in making your bone mineral density better. It also increases muscle mass. These are the plus you get from strength training. We don't have time to do everything, so choose what you can, rather choose what you want to invest in as your exercise. Okay. And also, of course, you need to take adequate calcium and vitamin D intake, and this is supplements, which I will talk about it in another standalone episode. Okay. So if you are menopausing, you have menopause, you're over 60s, do have your bone mineral density checked up. All right, because, and if you do have high risk of fracture history, you most likely need to do something about it, about your bone density. All right. Okay, so I have clients now who have actually experienced fracture, and again, once they have recovered from their fracture, they were instructed to start or continue strength training safely and steadily with supervision, because we also do not want to overload you when you have just recovered from a fracture. But what I'm trying to say is that you need to keep active, keep doing strength training, keep lifting, right? And that's how things get better and your general well-being gets better. So I hope that was a useful information from my sharing. Even if you don't care about lifting, being strong helps in your bone health. Okay. And I also would like to touch on mental health now. Now, bone health, we heard about how previously in the episode of muscles, having muscles, how it helps. Now we know that with muscles and with strength training, it helps in bone density as well. Can even prevent osteoporosis if you start early enough. Mental health is something that nowadays is being talked about, discussed, being talked openly about. In the past, it was a taboo topic. Mental health is very taboo. Nobody wants to admit they have mental issues and stuff like that. So I also have clients who have mental issues, or let's say anxiety, right, due to work or due to a lifestyle change. For example, they have gone through some kind of trauma, for example, just divorce or loss of a dear close ones, loss of parent, spouse. It can really affect you, right? And it's about the level of anxiety, the level of depression. I'm not an expert on this, but what I do see is that people who take care of themselves and keep their spirits high, positive, it's not so easy to say. Just like, be strong, be positive, but how do you do that? For me, myself, I've overcome death in the family. When my sister passed away suddenly, and then my father passed away last few years, and having to manage my mom alone because I don't have other siblings, I find that, of course, it goes, I don't have to say about faith, right? As a Muslim, we believe in death, in afterlife. We believe in God's will, that it's time to go, and we accept death in those ways, right? But what I want to share is that how do you move on from there, right? How do you move on and keep positive, be strong for your loved ones who are still alive, be strong enough to run your business, to work, to earn a livelihood. So one of the things that I discovered about myself was that when those things happen to me, those tragic tragedies, the trauma of losing someone, of course, grieving. Grieving is a process that is ongoing, that is always, it has to be there. You can't shake it off. It sometimes is, on certain days it's worse, certain days it's better. Then I realized that there was, I mean, on those times, right, if I actually thought, okay, I stopped exercising totally and just want to focus on, looking, reflection, inward, grieving. And I realized that it doesn't help being sedentary. Totally, and I don't get my endorphins. Then how do I continue being strong for my loved ones who are left behind, right? Who are also grieving, for example, right? So I realized that when I do get back to my routine of working out, strength training, go for walks, mashallah, it helps to clear the mind. It helps you to grieve while you are doing your walks, for example, or it makes you feel positive doing strength training because you're focused on the reps, on the sets, on lifting that metal bar. Keeps, and also strength training helps you to be mindful of breathing, breathing, deep breath, exhale when you're lifting. It does wonders for my mental health. Besides, of course, going back to our creator and praying, right? So I find that doing something positive for your own self, for your body, for your own health is so therapeutic. You sweat, you meet other people who talk positively in the gym. Nobody's going to put you down in the gym. If you think you're weak, they're weaker people, right? If you think you're strong, they're stronger people. And it's always a source of inspiration to look and get to know why people are working out. It's not always about aesthetics. It's about coping with life, what life throws you along the way, grief, bad news, a bad day at work, and stuff like that. Whatever goes on in your life, nobody has a perfect life. So I find that sweating it out and continuing to train does wonders as you face through milestones in your life, or trying to overcome trauma, just grieving. It's just get into that zone and work out and do something healthy for your body because you're going to need it, right? So don't always sacrifice yourself or your health. And obviously physical health and mental health, they are connected, vice versa as well. Mental health, physical health, mental health. And I have cases of clients who were quite ill, some fighting cancer, and when they are back on their feet, they start training again. And they always tell me that when they were sick, they always thought of, I wish I could train more, I wish I could attend a session right now instead of being in the hospital, or rather than taking anxiety pills, or always I can't sleep, insomnia. They find that after a good workout, after a sweaty session, they sleep like a baby. So sometimes give yourself a chance to find other ways to cope. It's not always being alone, just cutting off the outside world, so to speak, right? Find something healthy to feed your body and your soul and your mind. Speak to positive people. Like when you're working out, it's just you and your body and your strength or your weaknesses, and you are trying to finish the workout. It's really, really something. Although it may look just like, well, it's only for people who are so lame, who only cares about how their body looks. Trust me, many people are working out for the sake of their sanity. So don't rule it out as part of your natural remedies. Yeah, and slowly you will feel better about yourself. Some people have bad body image. They always think they don't look good, low self-esteem. You'll be surprised how strength training can give you so much confidence. After a few weeks of training consistently, you just feel so much better about yourself. it's hard to explain in greater detail because you need to do it to understand it. Yeah, but well, I hope I have given some more insights into the power of staying fit and healthy that can have an impact on your mental health as well in just a superficial way. But I've seen people actually doing good for themselves when they start training regularly, and it helps once again in their quality of life. Thank you for listening. See you again soon.